We are closing in on 1 week. That's right, 1 week away from Syracuse football's return. 7 days from now, we will be heading into the weekend of Syracuse football. And 8 days from now, Syracuse opens up the 2023 campaign in the Dome against Colgate. There's a lot to be excited about. And that's what we do today. I'm giving you my 5 things that I'm excited about for Syracuse football at this stance with 1 week heading in to Syracuse football. What am I excited about? Plus, we take to Twitter and look at your responses. What has got you hyped for Syracuse football as we near in on the return of Syracuse football in Central New York? It's your Locked On Syracuse Friday episode. Let's take it into the weekend with some fun.
You are Locked On Syracuse, your daily podcast on the Syracuse Orange, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's up? What's happening? Happy Friday, and thank you for making Locked On Syracuse your first listen today and every day. We're free and available wherever you get podcasts, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. And today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. Oh, and Valentine here on a Locked On Syracuse Friday. It's your boy OV on a Friday. Let's have some fun. We're doing 5 things that I'm excited about, and I think you need to be excited about surrounding Syracuse football as we are 8 days away from the return of Syracuse football in Central New York. What are you excited about? Fire them off in the comments if you're watching on YouTube. You can join the action on Twitter as well. We've got a lot of fan submissions from Twitter/X at this point in time. Share a bunch of those towards the end of the show, but it's never too late to join the conversation. So there's a tweet over there at LO_Syracuse. Feel free to join in if I miss something. If you want to emphasize something, add to a point, join the conversation. Let's have some fun. Bring the Cuse football community together as we inch closer to the return of college football. We are in week 0. Syracuse does not play till week 1. So we got a couple of days to continue our preparations, maybe take a look at Colgate, take a look at some of the fine print. I'd be expecting a 2-deep pretty soon. People taking some shots at guesstimating, but I would assume that we'll get a depth chart fairly soon surrounding Syracuse football. My first thing to be excited about, and this is sort of where I stand on Syracuse football, right? I'm not saying this is a national championship team. I'm not saying this is a college football playoff team. I'm not saying that this is an ACC championship contender-esque team. Is there a long shot where that could happen? Sure. Weird things have happened. Upsets have happened. Cinderellas have happened. I get that. But what I get excited about for Syracuse football, it's the tailgate, the game day experience. That sort of, you're playing at 4 o'clock, you're getting there at 1 or at noon, and you're hanging out, you're cooking, you're hanging out with friends, other fans, meeting people, chatting, building up to the game. You watch this game, you're having fun, you close things out. It's the whole day, right? The whole game day experience surrounding Syracuse football is that first thing that I think I'm excited about right now. I think you should be excited about. It's what brings us a lot together. I love the communal aspect of it, and I love just getting there early, having whatever foods you bring. Burgers and dogs type people. Are you doing ribs? You bringing a grill in? What are you doing? Everyone's bringing some dips, little chicken wing dip. Get me fired up with some chicken wing dip. My parents go to a tailgate. I don't even know the name of the people that do it. They make some, I don't even know what it is, some candied, not quite candied, hot bacon that is unbelievable. I cannot wait to get back to that. Mix some things up, try some new things. I love food, if you didn't know that about me. Rip some food, rip some drinks, rip whatever you want, have some fun, hang out, get fired up for the game, go pack the dome, get loud, get rowdy, watch a Syracuse win. And then maybe for those interested, especially with a 4 o'clock game, 3:30 game, getting out around 7, a little later than 7, take it down to Marshall Street, couple of spots, hang out, continue the night. celebrate the win. That is the first thing I'm excited for. That game day experience, that return to that. The fall weather coming in, it's a nice, 60, 70-degree day. You're just hanging out. You're getting excited. You're playing some cornhole. Challenge me to cornhole if you see me. I will beat you. Let's get it going. Please, I'd have some fun bouncing place to place and getting a tailgate going. That's what we're excited for. That's what I'm excited for. And that's really the first thing that I get excited for when it comes to a new season, right? It's a new start, new beginnings. Last year was what it was. 6-0 start and then an 0-5 skid after that was a very weird season, right? You overperformed and then boy, did you underperform. And it's sort of just the fresh start, new things. And that tailgate on week one sort of signifies that, hey, we're back. Here we go. Let's do our thing. And we're returning to Syracuse athletics and Syracuse football. Syracuse athletics has kicked off, by the way. Both soccer teams in action last night, some other teams in action as well. We're back with Syracuse athletics, but Syracuse football week one sort of just sparks that. All right, here it is. Here is the return of fall sports for Syracuse as we look at it. 8 days away. Second thing on my list right now, I've talked about him a bunch. I will continue to talk about him, and so will everybody else covering Syracuse football. He is make or break for this season. He is so vital, so important, and that is the starting quarterback. That is Garrett Schrader. I am incredibly excited for him. A third-year starting quarterback, right? Everything but, 2 or 3 games in 2021 when DeVito was starting. He's played 20-plus games at this point as a starter for Syracuse and is poised to get into the 30s. And I was looking in terms of Syracuse football history today, at the number of quarterbacks that we've seen that have played or started 30 games. And it's not a lengthy list. And this is since 1967, Syracuse has this list. So there's probably a few more as you go further back in time. But you've got Dungy, he's on the list with 30-plus starts. Perry Patterson is on the list with 30-plus starts. RJ Anderson on the list with 30-plus starts. RJ with a winning record in that year or in that span as well. I'll give him that. Who else? McNabb, with probably the best win percentage of a Syracuse quarterback that I see on this list, with 49 starts as a quarterback. Obviously, McNabb in there. Marvin Graves is in the mix there with 45 almost as well, or 46 starts. Who else you got? Don McPherson, and I think, Bill Hurley is the last one on this list with 30-plus starts at Syracuse. That's what you're about to get from Garrett Schrader. Garrett Schrader, barring injury, is poised to breach 30-plus starts this season. And how many people did I just name? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 others. So he will be the 8th in the last 50 years to do this. It's happening, every 6 or 7 years you see this happening. It's a big deal. It's really exciting to have such an experienced guy, at the helm in terms of running the offense, in terms of being that decision maker, in terms of having that veteran poise, that so well-refined experience that has come through 5 coordinators in 5 years, including Mississippi State and Syracuse, right? The amount of information he has been able to take in is absolutely tremendous. And he comes in with a ton of eyes, a ton of potential, and the ability to really drive what is success for Syracuse this season. How could you not be excited about him? How can you not be fired up? Are there questions right now? A little bit, right? He's coming off of surgery. It was a little bit, I guess, slower of a return than was advertised. I talked about this on our Wednesday episode with Emily Leiker. If you missed that, check it out. Really good stuff from our friend over at Syracuse.com. But it was sort of advertised that he's 100%. He's better than ever. He's so healthy and perfect right now. And we get into preseason camp and he's, on limitations and a pitch count, if you will. And they're doing dry runs where he's just sort of blank throwing. And it was weird. And it was sort of just because, and I said this, it wasn't that I'm nervous. That's a normal recovery from an injury and a surgery on the arm. But it just was weird and made me a little bit on edge because of how Babers talked about him being back and perfect and 100% and better than ever. And then we see him easing his way back in, and he's still not quite there. And people are asking, is he going to be 100% for week one? And Dino goes, no, he better be. That's not the answer you want. Give him a yes, definitive. Yes, 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 he's there. And stop showing us that he's not. That's the question. I'll give you that. But how can you not be excited, right? I want him to answer that question that, yes, now he is 100%. And we're going to see the best version of Garrett Schrader that we possibly can. And I can't wait to see, that first time where he has one of those games and a big play at the end where he can roll out and scramble on the edge and drop his shoulder if he needs to and get those extra yards and also drop back and find some success. I'm really excited for his potential in the season that he can possibly have coming in here. So right now, one on my list, and this is not in order by any means, is the return to tailgates, the game day experience. I love that. It's such a fun fall thing to do. And then obviously Garrett Schrader is that second spot right now. Before we move on, we got a new sponsor of the pod. Let's take a look and a chat with our friends over at Game Day. Oh, I love Game Day. You ever try to buy tickets and it stinks? It's a pain. You're struggling. Things are overwhelming. I had to buy tickets to a couple of concerts as of late. It gets stressful, right? And it shouldn't be stressful buying tickets to your favorite events. It should be exciting. And Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all sports, music, comedy, and theater near you. With killer deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee, you can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for the fun you'll have with Game Time. Look, I like it. It's easy. It's simple. You got games coming up. It is the fair. I'm recording this on Friday. Sam Hunt will be at the amphitheater tonight. I love the Game Time app experience. There's flash deals, there's last minute tickets, and it's easy to find and buy tickets for whatever you're looking for. There are seat views with the pictures, lowest price guarantees, and event cancellation protection, which really, really helps you out. It's the place for last minute ticket deals. Forget planning months in advance. I'm a procrastinator. Hand in the air. Game Time has deals on tickets right up until the day of the event. So download the Game Time app, create an account, and use Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code Locked On College for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Owen Valentine on your Locked On Syracuse Friday episode, talking what I'm excited about for Syracuse football's return, just 8 days away. We are 1 week away from what we have going on in the Dome. Colgate, next Saturday, the return of Syracuse football. What else am I excited about right now? And for me, I look at the schedule, and I am excited about this schedule right now because I think it's a very winnable schedule, a very doable schedule, and a schedule that permits Syracuse some options to really thrive early on. I think it's very feasible for them to go 4-0 to start the season against Colgate, against Western Michigan, against Purdue. A little bit of a toss-up. I think they're in good shape to beat them. Against Army, who could surprise you, but I don't think that would happen. There's a very, very strong likelihood that Syracuse can start 4-0 with this schedule, with this non-conference slate. Then you play the gauntlet, right? Florida State, Clemson, North Carolina. North Carolina's beatable in that mix. I like Florida State a lot. People say they're overrated. I might contend they're underrated. I think that team is unbelievable. I think they're my ACC champions at this point in time. Plus Clemson, right? You got some upset potential in there. The rest of the ACC slate is very, very winnable. We talked about this once again with Emily Leiker. There are 9, if not 10 games on the schedule that Syracuse can win. They won't win all 10 of them. They could. They most likely won't. But there are 10 winnable games on the schedule. That's exciting. It's exciting to have that many opportunities to get not only to the 6-win threshold that you want to do and get to a bowl game, but to get really through that and boost the success that is Syracuse football. We want Syracuse football's success metric to be more than 6-6, 7-5, 8-4. And that is a very feasible thing given this schedule. Some fun games in the mix, right? That Clemson game at the Dome, the ACC opener for Syracuse is going to be incredible. It's going to be so much fun. And we hope you can repeat what you saw 5-6 years ago at this point in time. it's going to be a big day, a big environment. And that's what the schedule allows, right? Very, very winnable games and then some splash potential. And I like that. And unfortunately, the splash potential is all back to back to back. It would have been fun to have it spread out a little bit. But I also like that this schedule is allowing Syracuse to play earlier on in the season some of those big ACC games against teams that can typically dominate you, especially late in the season when you've battled some injury. And you're going to more likely have some healthy teams and healthier players, and you're going to be able to play them with your true ones, which was not the case when you got to, say, Notre Dame last year, or even Clemson. You had gone through a handful of injuries in the first 6 weeks. So you're going to most likely see a healthier squad. And that's another reason I like this schedule at this point in time. Fourth thing, I like the vets on this team. I was talking about it a little bit, and I was worried about how many players were gone, but there is a lot more depth on this team. And not depth, well, yes, there is depth, but um, veterans and experience on this team. And obviously, it's the guy we've already talked about in Garrett Schrader as a fifth-year guy, third-year starter. But Aronde Gadsden's developing himself into a sound vet. Damian Alford, Trevor Pena, I feel like, has been with the squad for so long. You've got some vets on the O line, some fifth year guys coming in. But this defense, that's where I talk about the veterans. Okechukwu, Terry Lockett, seems like he's been having a decent preseason so far. Stephon Thompson, Marlo Wax, Derek McDonald showed a lot last season. Jason Simmons is in the mix there, right? Elijah Clark, throw him in there, younger, but still got some veteran presence. This is a squad that really does have a lot of veteran guys that I think can make a huge jump and continue to be sound leaders for this team. I say Lockett, he's still young. But Okechukwu, Thompson, Marlo Wax, without question. Isaiah Johnson is a redshirt senior at this point in time. Justin Barron, I threw in the mix, or I didn't throw in the mix. Simmons is in there as well. Right, you got some youth and you've got some vets, and I like that balance. And I think that is something I'm excited about just because of the looks ahead. And that's what brings me into the last one. And the last one is not necessarily even about what's happening 8 days from now. It's about what we saw the last sort of 2 months. And it has to do with Syracuse football recruiting. And for the first time under Dino Babers, I can't believe I'm saying this because I have been as loud and outspoken as anyone in terms of my anti-Dino Babers recruiting. Right? I've said this many times, and you can be angry with me because I'm going to say it again. Dino Babers does not call plays for the offense. Dino Babers does not call plays for the defense. Dino Babers does not manage the clock well. Dino Babers does not make good game day decisions. And Dino Babers does not recruit. Those are my 5 things. And I don't see what Dino Babers does well in that mix. He gives a great halftime speech. He gives a great post-game speech once every 2 years. I don't know what he does for this team. He's a good presence, right? He's a sound leader in that regard, but I don't know. And that's been consistently something that I've returned to, and I don't want that to be the case. And I don't want to see him fail. I want to see things work out, right? Because things to work out in Syracuse, consistency helps, right? But for once, as we looked at what has been declining recruiting rankings year after year after year after year after year, you go with a 10-win season, and your recruiting ranking has declined every year since 2018. Every year since you went 10-3, your recruiting rankings have declined. We're 6 years past that, right? 19, 21, 2, 5 years past that. But the 6th year, poised to make a jump. At 2 4-star guys. Jamie Tremble, really, really solid tight end, 4-star guy, top 300 player in the country. Jakari Williams, quarterback, one of the top quarterbacks in the class. Unfortunately, he took the Syracuse dip. That is the what happens when you commit to Syracuse and they bump you from 4 stars down to 3. But he is committed to Syracuse. Long shot, unexpected. On3 has him as a 4-star player. 24/7 has him as a high 3. ESPN has him as a high 3. Rivals has him as a high 3. Rivals at one point had him as a top 5 quarterback in their class and took him out. This is a class that's got a lot of potential, a class that can continue to expand, and a class that has more players, 8 more players this year, or no, 5 more players this year already in the 2024 class than Syracuse had in the 2023 class as a whole. The recruiting seems to be finally on the right track, and that's exciting, and I can't wait for those guys to make it here. Tremble looks like the perfect guy to slot into that Oronde Gadsden role when he makes his way to the league after this year, right? It's going to happen. He is going pro after this season, and Tremble is the answer to slot into that role. Very similar build, very similar play style, and he is that sort of combo. He's a big receiver that they're going to line up in that versatile. Can he play in the slot? Yes. Can he play out wide? Yes. Can he line up at the true tight end in certain instances? Yes. Plus, I love what I've seen from Williams as a passer, getting out and moving, makes plays happen. He's got that Mahomes-esque, just I can make something out of nothing. You thought this play was dead. Watch what I'm about to do type of play style. Is he Mahomes? No. But he's got that sort of just I can pull something out of a hat, magician-esque play that I think is going to be really fun to have in Central New York. So, game day experience. Garrett Schrader, I love this schedule. I love these veteran guys, and I like where recruiting sits right now for Syracuse as we look at the 2024s. Could it change? Yes. Could a lot of things change? Yes. Could I get excited for something next week that I didn't think I necessarily was going to talk about? 1,000%. But that's where we currently stand, 8 days away from Syracuse football. Let's take to Twitter or X, whatever the hell you want to call it, and let's see what y'all said in terms of what's got you excited for Syracuse football this season. We'll start with Syracuse Superfan. That is number 1 Cuse fan, I believe. Yes, is the tag there. Excited to see a very talented wide receiver group, and also LeQuint. I can only imagine a very productive year respectfully to their positions, as well as Garrett to have another monster year. Very positive and confident that they have the ability to upset teams. They've got a 3-week span where the upsets can happen. Everything else, I would assume, is pretty close to a toss-up game for Syracuse, especially after that 3-game stretch of Florida State, Clemson, UNC. You're going to be playing a lot of those 50-50 type matchups in the ACC. I think they are poised to win a lot of them. I like the receivers. I saw a big play from, I believe it was Alfred yesterday that was up on the Syracuse football Twitter. I like what he can do. I like Isaiah Jones. I'm really excited for him. Trevor Pena is a question mark for me, but with a lot of potential. Amari Hatcher can jump in the mix there. DeMarcus Adams, Donovan Brown. Like there are a number of guys that can step up. I look at Alfred and Jones as sort of the guys that can slot into that 2-3 role behind Gadsden, and that sounds like what Babers wants to happen, is to really develop a solidified hierarchy of, at the top, you've got Gadsden, right? He is your one. He is the guy. He is who you want at the one. But below that, to have that 2-3 duo of guys that can really be, strong options, especially with the defensive focus that Gadsden requires, I look for them to have big years, and I think they really can. And I wouldn't be surprised to see, Alfred and Jones really putting up big numbers. I would expect, let's go prediction, Oronde Gadsden to have 1,200 plus yards this year. Is that bold? Yeah, I want it to happen, and I think it can happen. But if Gadsden's getting his fill there, I think Alfred and Jones can both be 700-yard receivers, 600 or 700-yard receivers. Still a little bold, but I think that's what they can do, especially given the veteran presence from Schrader at the quarterback slot. And then you can look for some other guys at that third tier, whether it be Pena, whether it be Hatcher, whoever else, that can be getting their fill as well on that need-be basis, right? I want to see Schrader getting through progressions and getting a little bit deeper into those reads. And I think that this wide receiving group has the ability to allow him to do that. What else we got over on X? Orange Finn 44 keeps it simple. That's JSHUE_13 Oronde Gadsden. Yeah, be fired up for him. It's a top 100 player for Syracuse football. Did you see his NIL valuation, by the way, from On3? I believe On3 says his NIL annual valuation is 400 grand right now. And that puts him at, I believe, 101st in college football in terms of NIL money based on their metrics. Rondé Gadsden, that guy, that dog. Look at that. Make the bread. Get your money and make your way to the league next year because he would undoubtedly be pulling that off after this season. Patsy at Lenny PD, LaQuint Allen, all of the mob, Alford, new faces on special teams, Sparrow, Justin Barron, basically everyone. We're excited for Syracuse football, basically, is what that sounds like. I like it. I think that's a really, really fun way to look at it. There are some fun names on here, some big names, and people to be excited about. And I think there are some guys that are going to surprise you as well. I don't have that take. And I never get that take right. But just, there's going to be one or two guys. Maybe it's one of the transfers that came in that you're not expecting to be a starter at this point in time, but makes a name for himself, makes something big happen. Who knows? Really good to be excited. Dominic Valeriati. I will say your last name right one of these times, but I don't know. Sounds silly, but beating Carolina. I live down here. Yes, you are a Carolina guy. I always forget that. I want to shut the fans up. They've always been a paper tiger, and I'm tired of the talk and attitude that they are some sort of football royalty. I think NC State has a more storied program. I'm looking right now, and I will say this. May at quarterback makes things tough, but Carolina, I think, is vulnerable. I think they are vulnerable, and they've gotten some tough news. And some things with Tez Walker that will continue to be looked at. As I believe the latest, I haven't looked into this in a little bit, so if I'm wrong, please correct me. He was not granted immediate eligibility for the transfer, so they're going to still be dealing with that, and that hurts, right? Walker was our friend of the pod, Max Chadwick over at PFF, had Walker as one of his top receivers in the country potential wise, especially given him playing alongside May. Are they beatable? Yes. Is it still going to be a longer shot for Syracuse? Yeah. But I like that attitude. And I think of the 3 games, and this is low-hanging fruit because you got 2 top 10 teams and a team in the top 25, that 20 to 25 range in Carolina. This is the winnable of those 3. Let's see what happens. I think they very much can do it, and they present a winnable opportunity here. NJ Neer 12 on Twitter. 3 things. The linebacking core, I think the linebackers look incredible right now. And there are some names in those linebackers, right? Stephon Thompson, Marlo Wax. I like McDonald, Leon Lowry in the mix as well. I like getting the linebacking core in the mix. LaQuint Allen, I think everyone's fired up for him to have a big year. You just got the number 1. He's in the single digits, the youngest player on this team with a single-digit jersey number. Carefully watching if special teams has improved. Yes, the Dino speech will have a special teams that is well coached. Prove it this year. Some fun things, right? We're excited. Schrader's in the mix from Andrew Hood. The wide receiver group from Ron Whitting. A lot of things to be excited about. I'm excited. I'm fired up. 1 week. All right, 1 week, and Syracuse football makes its way back to the 315. Let's have some fun. Let me know if I missed anything in the comments on YouTube or over on Twitter at LO_Syracuse. Have a great weekend, everybody. Enjoy the fair if you're going there. Enjoy the concerts if you're going there. Have a good weekend. Be kind. Make somebody smile today. Do something nice for somebody else. Spread positivity. Make the world a better place. I will see you on Monday with a week of game day episodes.